Imagine waking up one morning, and your state isn't part of America anymore. No war. No collapse. Just a quiet shift. A vote. A deal. A new flag on the pole, one with a red maple leaf. Sounds crazy? Not if you're from Minnesota, or Alaska, or Michigan. Because while most Americans never think twice about our northern neighbor, some U.S. states are already more Canadian than American, in values, in economy, in culture. And if the Union starts to splinter, they might just make it official. This is the story of 7 U.S. states that could leave America and join Canada. And the signs? They're already here. The U.S. and Canada have always been close. We trade. We travel. We share the longest undefended border on Earth. But under the surface, something strange is happening. Rising political chaos in D.C. A healthcare crisis. A cost of living nightmare. Culture wars tearing cities apart. And in the face of all this, some states are looking around and asking, is this still working? Now zoom out. Look north. Canada, stable, peaceful, with universal healthcare, low crime, and strong social support systems. It's not perfect. But in the eyes of many Americans, it's starting to look like a safer bet. So what if the border wasn't permanent? What if the map of North America is about to change? Let's dive into the 7 most likely U.S. states to join Canada, and why it's not as far-fetched as it seems. Number 7, Minnesota. If you've ever been to Minnesota in winter, you'd swear you crossed into Canada without realizing it. Snowdrifts pile high. People apologize when you bump into them. Ice hockey is a religion. And politically? This state leans toward progressive, community-first policies, just like its northern neighbor. Minnesota shares nearly 900 kilometers of border with Canada, and over $7 billion in annual trade flows through that invisible line. But it's more than business. Historically, parts of Minnesota were deeply tied to Canadian fur trading empires like the Hudson's Bay Company. Many families in the north still hold dual citizenship, crossing over to visit relatives like it's a Sunday drive. And when it comes to national crises, economic instability, political unrest, Minnesota might not wait for Washington to fix it. Its heart already beats with a quiet Canadian rhythm. If the Union ever fractures, Minnesota could be among the first to slip quietly under the maple leaf, without much protest. Number 6, North Dakota. North Dakota doesn't shout. It doesn't posture. But beneath the surface, it's one of America's most Canada-connected states. Every year, over $6 billion in goods, mostly oil, wheat, and machinery, flow into Canada from North Dakota. The province of Manitoba is almost a sister economy. In the border towns, the relationship goes even deeper. In places like Pembina and Bottineau, it's normal to see Canadian plates in grocery store parking lots. Some locals even drive across the border to see doctors, choosing Canada's healthcare over America's. Politically, North Dakota aligns with Alberta, Canada's conservative stronghold. In fact, Alberta once considered breaking from Canada to align more closely with US-style capitalism, while some in North Dakota were talking about forming a joint economic zone with Manitoba. This isn't just wishful thinking. This is a state that has already entertained border-blurring ideas. So if Washington spirals, don't be surprised if North Dakota calmly turns north. Not out of rebellion, but out of practical, long-standing friendship. Number 5, Montana. Montana is beautiful. Wide. Wild. And in many ways, already part of Canada. It borders not 1, but 3 Canadian provinces, British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. But it's more than just lines on a map. Montana's economy mirrors its neighbors. Cattle ranching. Grain farming. Mining. Billions of dollars flow back and forth every year. But it's the culture that seals it. In many northern towns, Canadian dollars are accepted without question. CBC radio plays in the background, and Canadian TV stations are broadcast into living rooms like it's just another American channel. To people here, the border is just a formality. a line on a map that doesn't reflect real life. And when push comes to shove, Montana's calm, independent spirit might quietly choose the path of least resistance. Not east. Not west. North. Number 4, Washington State. Welcome to Seattle, home of Microsoft, Amazon, and coffee culture. Now drive 2 hours north to Vancouver. Different country, same vibe. Seattle and Vancouver function like twin cities, connected by the I-5 corridor, one of the busiest trade routes on the continent. Every year, billions in goods flow between them. So do people, families, and ideas. Washington State is fiercely progressive. From climate initiatives to healthcare debates to gun control, it aligns more with British Columbia's social values than much of the US, and there's a word for this bond: Cascadia. A proposed eco-cultural zone uniting Oregon, Washington, and BC into one independent nation, or at least one deeply integrated region. Some call it a dream. But when national politics grow unstable, dreams gain traction. Washington already has a self-sufficient economy, deep Canadian partnerships, and a population tired of federal gridlock. And if DC loses control, Washington might not ask permission. It might just act. Number 3, Oregon. If there's one state that never stops questioning its role in the Union, it's Oregon. With a long history of progressive activism, Oregon often leads the charge for change in America. Early legalization of cannabis. Environmental laws ahead of their time. Talks of universal basic income and universal health care. It's no surprise that Portland often feels more like Vancouver than Houston. Culturally and politically, Oregon is Canada's West Coast cousin. It's not just left-leaning, it's green-leaning. Bike lanes over freeways. Solar panels over oil rigs. Collective solutions over individualism. Oregon also plays a major role in the Cascadia movement. And it could become the nerve center of a new eco-nation stretching from Portland to Vancouver. A high-speed rail is already proposed to connect Portland, Seattle, and Vancouver, a physical symbol of growing unity. And if the US continues down a divisive path, Oregon might not scream. It might not burn flags. It might simply leave. Number 2, Alaska. Alaska has always been different. It's the only US state you can't drive to from the rest of the country without passing through Canada. In fact, in some Alaskan towns, the only road out leads directly into the Yukon. And that's not just geography. It's destiny. Alaska was Russian until 1867. It was sold to the United States, not conquered. Not colonized. Bought. A piece of land on the edge of the continent, never fully American in identity, always slightly detached. And now, as political tensions rise and national dysfunction deepens, many Alaskans are asking a bold question. What does being American still offer us? The answers are becoming less convincing. Canada offers strong environmental protections for fragile Arctic ecosystems, something many Alaskans desperately want. Canada acknowledges Indigenous sovereignty and funds services to isolated First Nations, something Alaska's native communities are fighting for. And economically? Alaska depends on Canada. Its pipelines, shipping routes, and even supply chains run through or alongside Canadian infrastructure. In many ways, Alaska already behaves like a partner nation, not a U.S. state. And if the United States continues to stumble, this massive, resource-rich, culturally unique frontier might be the first to walk away. Not in anger. Not in protest. But with quiet calculation. Because Alaska doesn't belong to anyone. It belongs to itself. Number 1, Michigan. Of all the U.S. states with strong Canadian ties, one stands out not just in theory, but in practice. Michigan. And the proof? It's steel, concrete, and 7,500 feet long. The Ambassador Bridge, connecting Detroit, Michigan to Windsor, Ontario, isn't just a road. It's an artery. Every day, more than 10,000 trucks cross that span, carrying auto parts, agricultural goods, machinery, medicine. Detroit and Windsor aren't rivals. They're twin engines. Their economies don't just support each other, they depend on each other. One hiccup in that supply chain, and both sides suffer. But it's not just trade. Michigan has hundreds of miles of shared border with Canada. Ferry routes, tunnel connections, binational industry parks. Even sports teams cross the line. And in recent years, something else has crossed the line too: political values. Michigan, especially in its urban centers, has been shifting. In response to U.S. healthcare failures, many support universal coverage. In the wake of climate disasters, there's a growing push for clean energy policy. And after years of federal gridlock, trust in Washington is collapsing. Meanwhile, right across the river, Canada offers answers. Free healthcare, stronger education, cleaner cities, safer streets. And the people of Michigan are noticing. It's not fantasy. It's logistics. If the U.S. government ever fractured, through economic collapse, secession movements, or civil disorder, Michigan has a ready-made escape route. And unlike any other state in America, it already knows the answer to the question: if we joined Canada, where would we begin? Right here. At the bridge. Let's pause. Because what we've just explored isn't just an exercise in imagination. It's a reflection of something deeper happening across the country. A rising wave of dissatisfaction, division, polarization. For decades, we've believed that the borders of the United States were set in stone, immutable, permanent. But history tells a different story. Nations fracture, empires fall, borders shift, and sometimes, without a shot fired. What binds a country together isn't just geography. It's belief, shared values, a sense of purpose. And when those things start to fade, people start looking elsewhere. Canada, calm, consistent, cautious, might not seem like a revolutionary choice. But in a world spinning faster every year, stability can be radical. These 7 states, Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, Washington, Oregon, Alaska, and Michigan, aren't wildcards. They're canaries in the coal mine. The places where the American experiment is already starting to feel different. More Canadian. Less American. And one day, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not even in this generation, when the cracks get too deep to ignore, they might not fight to hold the Union together. They might simply leave. Quietly. Calmly. Just like crossing a bridge. Here's the part no one talks about. If even one state leaves, just one, it changes everything. Because once the seal is broken, once that first defection happens, the idea becomes real. Contagious. Powerful. And the border between the US and Canada? It stops being a line, and starts being a door. A door that opens. A door that others might soon walk through. And when they do, the map of North America will never look the same again. If this video made you see the map differently, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because next, we're diving even deeper into America's future. From Texas independence to California's secession dreams, we'll uncover the real movements that could split the United States from within. Stay curious. Stay sharp. And remember, nothing lasts forever. Not even a nation.